All right, I think it's about time for us to get started. I think we can finally go ahead and kick this off. I am ready for our office hours today. This is our August installment of my monthly office hours. Just making sure everything is all set up over here. Think I'm good. Everything looking around, everything looks good. Okay, so what I would really love it if some of you, if anybody who has joined yet, if you would just take 2 seconds, let me know that you can both see me, you can see my slides, so you can see me on camera, and you can also hear me. Everything looks like it's working on my side, but always nice to get a bit of feedback from people who are tuned in to my session today. All right, I have got a lot of stuff that I had to share with you today. I've got a ton of links, a lot of news since we last got together. One of the, I guess you could call it one of the nice things is that since we last got together, I actually, nobody gave me and sent any questions in ahead of time. So if you've got a question, you want to drop it in the chat, please feel free, drop it in the chat. I'm keeping an eye on that. There is a bit of a delay. So from when you drop it in the chat and when I respond and I get back to you. So you will eventually get there. I'm still just watching the chat for everything to see if I've got, let me actually do one thing here with my chat, live chat. There we go. So everybody is visible. Okay. So I think we're good. All right. So, just want to double check and see my feed to see everything picks up and it starts getting the recording here. All right. So like I said, I've got a lot of links I want to share with you today that we're going to run through. Before we get started, really quick, since we're going to spend the next hour or so together, I thought I would go ahead and take a minute just to introduce myself so that you know who you're going to be sitting here with for the next hour. My name is Andrew Connell. I like to do these office hours once a month, just to kind of update you on the latest news in the Microsoft 365 development space and related topics. That's going to include things such as Microsoft Azure and other related developer topics. I can't tell if anybody is here yet. Oh, there we go. So I've got soft as in software. Got it. Congrats on MVP renewal. Hey, thank you very much. I guess I didn't even mention that. I did get renewed on my MVP award. That marks 21 years. Crazy, absolutely crazy. Makes you feel old though. So thank you very much. I can't tell your name is, so soft as in software. Thank you very much. I'm guessing you can both see and hear me. So if you would just let me know in the chat that you can both see and hear me on the feed. Looks like the feed is still coming across that shows, well, you should be seeing me. So it must be just really delayed showing up on the feed. At any rate, what was I going to say next? Oh, so again, my name is Andrew Connell. I have been doing this stuff doing SharePoint development now. It looks like my slide needs to be updated. It says 20-year MVP. Oh, awesome. Hey, Martin, welcome. Congratulations on yours. I assume you got renewed as well, if you're saying that too. So thanks. I am a longtime Microsoft 365 developer, so I've been involved with really with SharePoint and back to a product called Microsoft Content Management Server back since September of 2003, and have really been living in this space ever since. So these days I spend a significant amount of my time on things like the SharePoint Framework, Microsoft Teams, Teams app development, Azure, SharePoint Embedded, and a lot of time with Microsoft 365 Copilot as well. I have a company called Voitanos where I do really a bunch of education related stuff. So I have courses on the SharePoint Framework and live workshops. I'm actually doing one tomorrow on Copilot extensibility. I'll touch on that in just a minute. And a bunch of other stuff as well. So if you want to learn more about that, you can check that out on my site. Just go to voitanos.io. I'm also recently restarted my own podcast. So I used a podcast with another guy named Chris Johnson. We had a podcast that we ran for 8 years, 450 episodes that we shut down a couple years ago called the Microsoft Cloud Show. I've recently started another podcast with a good friend of mine, Julie Turner, called the Code Deploy Go Live podcast. And it's very similar in terms of the format of what I used to do, but it's more focused very specifically around the developer space in really the Microsoft developer space. So there's a strong influence of Microsoft 365 development, but we also cover other related stuff as well. And then, as we've already mentioned in the chat here, I'm also a 21-year Microsoft MVP for Microsoft 365 development. So that kind of covers everything you see in the About Me thing at the top. For those of you who are new to office hours, let me just kind of explain what I like to do with this. So I like to cover like 3 main areas of the Microsoft 365 stack. That's going to be customizations and extensibility with SharePoint, which is going to be using the SharePoint Framework, Microsoft's recommended way to do it. Then I've got some stuff related to Microsoft Teams app development, Microsoft 365 Copilot development. And then at the end, I'll also touch on any questions that you may have. And again, as I said at the beginning, nobody has submitted any questions ahead of time. That's perfectly fine. As I said, I've got a ton of news and links and updates to share with you today that I will include as well. We'll go over throughout the session. Also, I had so many links. I'm trying something new this time. Right now, you'll be able to see them, but all of the links are already published in the description that I'm going to go through today for this video. And then when I'm finished with the video, YouTube records it. It'll make it available. I will add chapter links that will, and I'll put I'll put the links to the news items in corresponding with each one of those news items that I go through into the different chapter links after YouTube has gone through and processed the video. So that can take a little bit of time because I also want to try and cut off the first, I think it's 15 minutes I used in the pre-roll before we went live. So, all right. So before I do that, I do want to just mention 2 things here because they're a little timely. First of all, 1 hour after this webinar, or after this live stream, I'm delivering a free webinar on an introduction to customizing and extending Microsoft 365 Copilot with custom agents. So in that webinar, it's a big overview on what can I do, what do I want to do with Microsoft 365 Copilot, and how can I build custom agents, and what are the different things that I can do with those agents. So we'll talk about what you can do with declarative agents and what you can do with custom engine agents as well. That webinar, you do have to register for it. So if you scan that QR code or just go to the little short link you see down there in the bottom right, that will take you to the place where you can register for it, and you will get a link where you can join the webinar. If you did not, if you're watching the recording of this and you didn't make it in time, that is perfectly okay. If you go to my site, voitanos.io, you will find a place where I have a list of all my previous webinars, upcoming and previous ones. You'll find this one in a recording will be posted there as well. One little teaser with that though, at the very end of that webinar, I'm going to offer a special discount for a workshop that I'm running, which let me just touch on that really quick as well. Oh, that slide went to garbage. What happened there? Let's try that one more time. Oh, what is going with that? Well, that is really odd. Here, let me try. I have another version of that slide somewhere else. What in the world? Okay, I noticed my slides did this last time with something else I did. Okay, you can't really see this. I don't understand why it's not popping up here, but the link and the QR code are still going to work. On July 16th and 17th, that's tomorrow and Wednesday, July 16th, and Thursday, July 17th, that is going to, I have a workshop that I'm running, a virtual workshop that is going to walk you through how to create and how to customize declarative agents or create declarative agents using the VS Code and the Agents Toolkit. So you'll see what's new with the Agents Toolkit. I'm even going to go in and show you the new templates for creating Copilot connectors And I'm also going to show you how to build declarative agents, not just using JSON and YAML, but also using TypeSpec. There are some pre-recorded instructor-led demos. So if you want to follow along in the stuff that I do at your own pace later, you'll have access to those. This webinar does have a registration, a cost associated with it. It's $249, but you get access to the recordings and all of the videos if you can't make it live to review it at any time in the future. And like I said, if you want to find a discount to save some on your registration, join my webinar that I have later on today, or go find the recording and jump in if you can't get there until later. So I don't know what's up with that slide, so we're going to just skip that slide and let's just go back and let's just start with all of the news and the stuff that we want to cover today. I have a lot of stuff. So let's start first with the SharePoint framework. Now, as I'm going through all of these different items, a couple things. First of all, please feel free to drop a link or drop a comment or a question in the chat below. That's a little delayed from real time, or when I respond, it's gonna be a little delayed. So just keep an eye out for the responses that you get back. As I will definitely, I'll cover everything, any of your questions that you post, I'll cover those via voice, via chat, not typing the chat in. It's gonna take too much time to get through everything, I guess. Let's see what can I get. Let me go back. All right, we'll just leave it here. And again, if anybody's connected, I can see we got a bunch of people that are connected already. If somebody would just let me know that you can both see me and my slides. So my slides are just, they're over there. You can see me and you can hear me as well. Just give me a little bit of feedback that part's working. Also, we're gonna go through a ton of links and a ton of news items. I'll have QR codes up for every single one of them. And you will also be able to access all of the links. They'll also be in the description below the video as well. Here's our first one. So the last time we got together, back in mid-June, we had just come off the news that Microsoft had retired the SharePoint Framework Field Customizers capability. Major bummer. They got a lot, and when I mean a lot, I mean like, holy crap, a lot of negative feedback for this, a lot of anger, including from me, and maybe induced a little bit from me too. What they did is they announced the retirement by burying this thing in the Message Center on a Friday night on June 13th. Most people didn't notice it until, well, I guess a lot of us didn't notice it until Monday morning when they sent out the weekly digest from the Message Center. That's when I caught it, which is an email that you can subscribe to and get it sent to you. And then after that, we also got a lot of people also found out about it from some of the stuff that we covered, both in my podcast on the Code Deploy Live podcast. I think it was in episode 8, maybe. And furthermore, we also, and I also covered it in my last office hours. A couple days after that, the following Wednesday, on the 18th of June, Microsoft was like going, oh, okay, we got it. You guys don't like this. So they walked back. They basically said, we're not going to retire it. We've removed that decision, but they said they're going to go back and do some more research. So where do we stand right now? The link that you see on the slide there, and with that QR code that you see there as well, that'll take you to my article, which has a bunch of other links associated with it, and my take on this. The current state of this today is that there is no retirement date set. It is unclear if field customizers have been deprecated, because the Message Center post has only been updated to say, we're not going to do this right now. What's my take on this? I would just say proceed with caution. From my point of view, Microsoft has shown their hand what they want to do. They want to deprecate this. They want to deprecate this feature. They only backed off because they got a lot of bad press about it. I think it was pretty warranted that we all gave them some very negative feedback on this. But still, it's disappointing. What does that mean for the future? Well, we simply don't know. But if a customer was coming to me and they said, what should we do? I would say, you can still use them today, but just know that I think that what Microsoft has done is they have essentially told us or communicated to us that you may not have, that these things may get retired in the future. So I would just pay attention to the news and keep voicing your feedback and your opinion to Microsoft on this. Still major frustration. Feedback matters, believe it or not. Feedback really matters. So if you feel strongly about this, go to that link that I've got there and voice your opinion. I've got a YouTube video on it. I had a LinkedIn post about it. I had a podcast episode about it and an article. If you want to make your feedback known, go to all of those and leave your comments. They are definitely paying attention to that, because I've had some people at Microsoft tell me, holy crap, you've gotten quite a bit of attention with this post over here. And I'm like, is that a good or a bad thing? Like, am I in trouble? Or is it just I shined a light on some bad news that you guys seem to kind of try and slip in? Seems to me it's a bit of the latter, that they're like, yeah, this is pretty bad. I posted this before they shared anything internally with what happened. It is my impression that the SharePoint Framework team is not the one that deprecated this feature. It was the lists team. If you want my 2 cents, I think that's pretty ridiculous that another team can deprecate somebody else's feature without the team that owns the feature having any say-so about it. So, yeah, we'll just have to see what happens with this going forward. Not good news with that. All right, next thing is, let's talk about current state of the SharePoint Framework. We're still version 1.21.1. The next version that's coming, and 1.21.1 didn't really give us much other than an upgraded version of Node is supported, because Node 18 was the previous one that we were using in 1.20, and it is expired. Thanks a lot for that comment, Corey. I appreciate that. I don't know if they listen to me. They at least notice me, and I'm not sure that they take my feedback. So regardless, I don't know. We'll see what happens. So let's see what I was going to say with this was, so they upgraded the version of Node because the previous version of Node was going to be out of support. They skipped Node 20 and went straight to 22. That's fine. They also upgraded the version of TypeScript from 4.7.4 to 5.3. And then they added support for flexible layouts. That little asterisk there has nothing to do with the SharePoint Framework version. They did this in the manifest, in the component manifest for a web part, but that thing isn't versioned. So this has nothing to do with this version of the SharePoint Framework. You could be on SharePoint version 1.0 and you could add support for flexible layouts to your manifest for your web part, and it will work just fine. You don't need to upgrade your project for this. The next version is 1.22. My impression and understanding from Microsoft is that will be out. I'm going to say September. Let's just say Q4 though, because every time I hear them say a date, it's always like, even if I hear it like on a Friday and they're like, we're going to ship on next Tuesday. I'm like, yeah, okay. Like which Tuesday? And then a couple weeks go by. It's like, now we're shipping. Like, okay. So that ain't going to happen for a little bit. I got some more stuff though. One thing, just to reiterate something I've said in the past, content security policy is rolling out right now. Most people should have it in their tenant. I explained what this is in that link you see there in the top right on the slide. That is to an article that I wrote, and then I referenced the documentation, but it does explain kind of what CSP is and how Microsoft is implementing it in SharePoint Online. Effectively, what this does is this is going to allow administrators to control what domains script files will be loaded from like your web parts or your SharePoint Framework components. Really anything in SharePoint Online, but it's really going to affect us that are SharePoint Framework developers. There are some not so great ways of things that they've done with this that they could definitely do better. But it is what it is for right now. I'm going to write one thing down. All right. I also had a bunch of feedback for them on things they can do to make this better. I created a discussion item. That's the link in the bottom right inside the SP Dev Docs issue list, where I added a bunch of my suggestions, and that you can go vote on and you can give them feedback on. Right now, the CSP is not being enforced. It is just being reported. So if you are violating the CSP policy, your scripts will still load, but they are going to be logged as a finding or a violation inside of Purview, and they'll be logged as a finding inside of the JavaScript console. So it will be there. It's just, it's just not going to be, it's not going to count against you. They said they're not going to start enforcing this until late 2025. We haven't had much detail on that. So just heads up. That's not all. We found a bug. Microsoft has admitted that this is a bug. So today, this was reported by one of my students in the Voitanos Learn community, and then they've also posted as an issue in the GitHub issue list. The link on the right-hand side will take you to the issue in the GitHub issue list. If you are using dialogues in your SharePoint Framework components, if your modal dialog that pops up has an input box on it, if you click on that input control, you immediately lose focus when you click on it. It happens in basically every browser. And sometimes you can fix it by doing a hard refresh. I'm not sure what's causing this. They say that they've reproduced it and they've notified engineering, and engineering is going through and trying to, they basically validated this is a bug, and then they're trying to figure out, like, is this I guess they're trying to figure out how they're going to go through and fix this. So at the moment, there is no ETA on what the fix is going to be or when it's going to roll out. Right now, I'm just trying to bring awareness to it by just making sure that you're aware of this item. Another thing is that came out. This is a little annoying. So we noticed this in the last couple days. Microsoft has rolled out a new page user experience for creating new pages, and it's going to affect SharePoint Framework single page apps. So effectively, this is easier for me to actually show you this than it is to actually explain this. So I got my browser open right here. All right. And if I open this, let's go big with this. All right. So I got my browser open right here in a modern site. So if I create a SharePoint Framework web part, and in the manifest of that web part, I say it supports, I think it's the full page app option, which essentially says that when I add it to the page, it's a web part that's going to be added, create a new page, and that page is going to take up everything from right here all the way down to the bottom right corner of the page, and it will just be my web part. So it'll have the sweet bar at the top, the header, the sweet bar up here, the header right here, and then everything on the left-hand side, the navigation. The way, once that was installed in my site, the way I would add this to my SharePoint site is I would go to the new button and I would click on page. But we have this new page experience now, and now it's taking us to the template gallery for pages. A lot of problems with this, if you ask me. First of all, what are all these templates? Do I really want these things? How can I what about templates that I've created and saved in my site, in the site I've done in my own organization? These are all templates from Microsoft. I don't even have an option to hide these or get rid of these. So as far as governance goes, pretty crappy story with this. But second of all, let's put it at SharePoint Framework point of view. How am I supposed to go in and add in my single page app that I created using the SharePoint Framework with a web part? There's no tab interface here. Better yet, right now I've lost all context on what site I'm in. I don't even know that I'm in that site that I was just in called my modern site. So this kind of site, there's no way to cancel out of this. The only way you can get out of it is by using the back button. Now watch this. I go to the back button. Okay, so that time it worked. Great, thanks Microsoft. That's not funny. Let's try this again. So let's see if it's inconsistent again. Because what I'm hoping to show you is this is not going to show up. So if I go new, page, and then if I go back, It looks like they might have fixed something since I last checked this. New page. Let's do a hard refresh right here. Hard refresh. And then let's go back. Okay, that's kind of a crappy experience. Where does this send to? Where's this coming from? If I go back to my home page and then go new page, and then let's try back again. Okay, so now it's kind of working. You see, this is buggy if you ask me. But second of all, how am I supposed to add my single page app that I create as a web part? The only way you can get around it is if you go up here to the cog menu and choose add a page. Then I get to that old experience that we had where if I had a SharePoint Framework page, I could use the template that I had that would be listed in another tab right here. Notice I've even got these other ones here from the ones I've saved on this site. That's the stuff that's missing from that new experience. So this is just a really crappy, inconsistent experience. I've asked Microsoft about this. They've essentially confirmed. Oh, there we go. There's that experience. Look at that. I lost the quick launch menu again. So how do I get back to this? Do I just refresh the page? Oh, there's a quick launch again. I don't know what they're doing. It's like amateur hour over there yet again after field controls. So in this case here, I've asked Microsoft. They confirmed that this is a bug, that they are working to figure out like what the deal is and how to go back and fix it. My concern is that someone just simply forgot to rewire the site settings button and click add a page to take me to the old experience. They just forgot to replace that URL with the one with the new page templates view. I mean, if they do that, then we completely lose the ability to use the SharePoint Framework web parts as single page apps, which now let's go through and have the other discussion again. Somebody cut another feature from the SharePoint Framework. I don't know. Let's not jump to conclusions yet. Let's see what they say. So anyway, want to make sure you are aware of that one. I'm curious to hear what you think about that, if that's new to you, or if you hadn't seen that yet. Hey, as I'm doing this too, I'll share some stuff too. Let me know what you think. For those of you who've been here before, these how I'm doing the links now for the different items in the quick launch, or sorry, new links that I'm going through the news. Do you guys like this? You like this do you like this format I'm doing with the office hours where all the links are just like your QR codes, so you can easily see them, scan them with your phone real quick, or you can grab the just type in the link from the stuff you see there below each one of those QR codes. And remember, those links are all listed in the notes right now for the live stream, and they'll be there as well for the recording. So let me know what you think about that. Give me a thumbs up. Tell me if you like it. Please leave a comment. Give me some feedback. I'd love to know. I really want to know, are these office hours, like I don't get a ton of people that sign into these things live. How useful are these to you? Let me know. Please, leave something in the chat. Leave something in the comments if you're watching the recording. It really helps to get some feedback to know, like, am I wasting my time with this stuff? I mean, I've got a handful of people that do like it, but in terms of the interest of using your time wisely, getting feedback from people is always going to be beneficial. Oh, I skipped that one. Here's something that's new that's coming to the SharePoint. Very, very soon. We're going to have the adaptive card extensions are going to automatically start showing up in SharePoint agents in SharePoint Online. So the way this works is that if you create an adaptive card extension, the little tiles that we have, it'll automatically start showing up in agents. Now these two links, the one on the top is from the Microsoft 365 roadmap item, and the one on the bottom is from the Message Center. The one on the top, the roadmap item, is going to refer to this as just Microsoft 365 Copilot chat. That is not where this is going. That is going in the SharePoint agents. That's mentioned in the Message Center item below. These are also going to start rolling out in September 2025. So they're not rolling out right now, but they will start rolling out in about 2 months. Kind of interesting there, because now that we can use React inside of adaptive card extensions with one of the recent updates to the SharePoint framework, not just using ACEs, but also using React for the quick views. That kind of gives us the ability to do little apps inside of SharePoint agents. I mean, there's a few things that kind of tick me off about this. It's like, why isn't this just a bigger Copilot thing that we can use anywhere in Copilot, have our own little apps that pop up and not just only use adaptive cards? Why is this a SharePoint Framework thing? Why is this just a SharePoint Agents thing? I don't know. It's kind of a it's the whole like moving fast stuff at Microsoft right now, where all they care about is AI and teams don't seem to talk to each other. So even when they cut features, got a couple things here related to Microsoft Teams as well. I think I have one thing for Teams. There's a bug. I found this. Apparently 3 or 4 of us found it about the same time. Don't know how this is this impacted me right at I did a workshop on building Teams apps, and I was like, why is all of a sudden none of my tenants are working? This is so frustrating. So here's what's happened. There is a bug in the Teams clients, all of them. The web client, the desktop clients for Mac and Windows. That's really the only place where you're going to find it. The link on the right is going to take you to the link on the right is going to take you to the GitHub issue where this is listed. This has been acknowledged as a bug for Microsoft. Here's the experience that I see. If I go to sideload an app, so I'm doing development, I've configured my tenant for sideloading, I've made sure that the policy that the user is the policy that applies to the current user. So if it's me, I just do it for the global policy for everybody, but you can create a policy more finely grained, like who's allowed to do this in your tenant. That's all been configured correctly. What happens is that if I come over here to go upload an app, you'll see that the upload app item, menu item is disabled, and it says request approval from your IT admin to be able to upload apps. That basically says the policy is not working. I've gone through and recreated the policies. I've done this in 3 different tenants. There's nothing you can do to get around it. But what's weird is that if you kind of shrink up the web client or the desktop client, and you get the upload app button to go away, so that you see like right here, it's just the ... And then you click the ... It's not disabled. But when you click the button there, the dialog that pops up is empty. That's a bug. So I would argue that all of it is a bug. It seems that the Agents Toolkit, what's the successor to the Teams Toolkit for VS Code, it seems that it is not affected by this. It uses the API to sideload an app into Teams. It does not use automate the web experience. That's good, but if that API option fails, which it was doing quite a bit before they made, it was doing it for a couple months. Like, okay, there's no way to go through and sideload apps. So like I was doing a workshop at a conference recently in Seattle at the TechCon 365 conference. I couldn't show any of my samples working if the Teams Toolkit or the Agents Toolkit failed to upload it. I had to go grab videos and show that videos from one of my courses I had done to show my demo is actually working. It was really frustrating, but is what it is. Can't really do much about it. So that link over there goes to the bug. It's annoying too in the issue. If you go look at the issue there, there's a lady or a person from Microsoft. I'm not sure if it's a man or a woman, but they said that, oh, it's acknowledged as a bug. It's rolling out. It's currently in R3 and R4. And we're all like, what is R3 and R4? And they're like, oh, those are internal channels. I'm like, we don't care. I could care less about internal channels. When are you going to fix it in production where it's affecting customers and developers? And they're like, oh, that's not public. I'm like, what? Oh my God. It's just really frustrating. See, oh, I know you told me your name. I think it was Martin. So I see soft as in software. Is that SAIS? So the store UI in general, both preview and beta, is super unstable at this time. Sideloading apps appear all over the place after a long wait. Yeah, I know. It's just the quality of Microsoft software is going down the more that they're focusing on AI. They're moving way too fast. They're talking about moving fast and break things. That implies you're going to fix them. I'm not seeing that part. All right. Actually, Martin, if you have a link to a bug with that, I'd love to see that. 'Cause I haven't experienced that yet. Okay, so next thing I want to cover is stuff around Microsoft 365 Copilot. There's no bad news with this, thank goodness. It's just good stuff. This is a new thing that is showing up in the Message Center. The link that you see there on the right-hand side is going to be pointing to the Message Center item. If you're building a declarative agent and you're doing it either using the agent builder inside of Microsoft 365 Copilot, the app in Teams, or if you're using the Agents Toolkit to create it, nice, Martin, then this is something that you can take advantage of. So what this does is there is an option that you can prioritize custom knowledge that you provide in your declarative agent over internal agent knowledge. And you're like, what does that mean? So internal agent knowledge is going to be data that is, the knowledge that the underlying foundational model has from its underlying training, its original training training process. So like the actual model, like GPT-4 or GPT-4o. And it's going to also prioritize your custom knowledge that you've defined inside of your agent as a capability using a Copilot connector over any of the other data that's in the semantic index that the agent may find or Copilot may find from deducing your user intent. So this is available today. It's available right now. It is not enabled by default if you're using the agent builder. You have to turn it on. There's a little control that you do that with. And then it's also something you have to opt into when you're using the Agents Toolkit. It is part of the V4 manifest schema. I don't think the V4 manifest schema is currently used in the agents, in the template when you create a brand new agent. I think it's still on V3. But I did see that they're about to ship an update for templates and an update for the, actually, I don't know if they've actually done that yet or not. Here, let's look at that really quick. So if I come over here, do I have VS Code open in this environment? Not yet, but I can. Code. And so this is the Agents Toolkit, but I want to come over here and go Agents Toolkit. Okay, so that's the current version is 602. Whoa. So check that out. It looks like that just popped up. That may have just been updated today. Actually, you know what? Let's give it a shot. Let's see what this does. So let's go create this and let's see if the declarative agent, I don't need a guided tour. We're just going to go with the declarative agent. I don't really care about any of this because I just want to see the manifest. I'll put it in here. Yo Mama 02, because I already have a Yo Mama 01. Yes, I trust. Zoom in a bit. Let's come over here and look at our agents, agent JSON, and it is version 4, so it was not doing that before. So with that, I was looking for this earlier and didn't see it. So let's do, behavior overrides. Discourage model knowledge. There we go. I bet you that's the property. Let's get rid of this. So what's wrong with that? Contains configuration modify expected a comma. Oh, well, yeah. I gotta do good JSON. Discourage model knowledge. So okay, so what that tells me then, the Message Center item is not fully correct. It's only going to override the knowledge, the fundamental knowledge in the from the model. It's not going to override the stuff that it may get from the semantic index. So that's a big difference there. So you can override anything that's coming from the foundational knowledge that it has in the declarative agent by using that property. That's cool. Actually, that's cool and that sucks because what that means is I've got a workshop I'm doing tomorrow and the next day on declarative agents, and I need to go back. I need to make sure I add that to my slides. Ha! Fun stuff. See, it's going to be like cutting edge. All right. So anyway, there's that info for that. What else do I have here? Okay. we've got like 20 minutes left. So I got plenty of time here for questions. Usually do a bunch of questions. Let me do this before anybody leaves. I see, Anthony, you got 1 or 2 questions there. Let me come back to those in a half a second. Let me do a little bit of wrap up stuff really quick. And then I'm going to go answer any questions that anybody has. If you've got a question, if you would, please post it in the chat. I'm happy to answer questions. We got, like I said, we got 20 minutes remaining in our office hours for me to run through anything that comes up. I only see, I see 3 messages from Anthony. I know there's 1 question in there or 1 comment that I'll address in just a second. But let me just do this really quick in case people drop off. How do I get back to my slides? There we go. They're right up there. So before we do questions, I'll come back to the thank you stuff. Again, just a quick little reminder. In an hour after this live stream, I'm doing a free webinar at 1 p.m. Eastern. So that's in about 80 minutes from now. 79 minutes from now. You can get to it by scanning that QR code. That will take you to the registration link. It's going to be a Teams webinar. The link at the bottom will also take you to the same place where you can register. And after you register, you'll get a link sent to you from Teams after you register with the URL that you can use to connect to the webinar, where I'm just going to go over all the stuff that you can do, customizations with Copilot. I'm already dressed for it. I got my pink shirt on for Copilot. And then I mentioned this earlier, and our slides crapped out. So that link right there will take you to my workshop. But let me just show you then, since this is screwing up. Let me go back over here and I'll just show you what this webinar is. Where is my mouse? It's right here. If you go to boitanos.io and if you go to Copilot extensibility for courses, so you can do that right here, or if you just choose courses, it is the one thing, it's the one that's showing up over here on the right. When you select that, it will take you to the workshop, where if you scroll down, or just actually you can just go click to reserve your seat and you can go register for the workshop. This is going to be on Wednesday and Thursday of this week, July 16th and 17th. There are 4 sessions. Each one is 90 minutes long. There's 2 on Wednesday and 2 on Thursday. And it will include, they'll all be recorded. So if you can't watch it live, that's perfectly fine. And it will also include some self-paced videos that will be published as we go through the workshop, where it'll be a step-by-step walkthrough of how I created certain projects so that you can follow along and do the same thing. So you'll have access to all the live session recordings, and it is also going to be the foundation. So you see the on-demand instructor-led demos, is what I mentioned a second ago. I'm also going to show, from the last time I did this workshop, I'm going to show how to create custom agents, declarative agents, using TypeSpec, which is a more strongly typed way of creating agents and not using JSON and YAML. So it's a much better developer experience. That's currently in preview, but it's fully, it's just like you use TypeSpec to generate the JSON and YAML. So you don't publish TypeSpec. So even though it's preview, like I have no problem using it, because it's not going to be, if I publish it to M365 Copilot, it's going to work because it never gets the TypeSpec. Just like I never published, TypeScript. I only published the JavaScript. This workshop is also going to be the foundation for a upcoming self-paced course that I'm going to publish very soon. I can guarantee you, if you do this workshop, you're going to get the cheaper price than what the on-demand course will be. So I will continue to do this workshop in the future. I will continue to have an option for the on-demand course as well. If you're interested for probably a little bit extra. But yeah, this is going to be they'll be the best price you get on this. If you attend my webinar later today, at the very end of it, I will show a discount code where you can save 20% as well. And if you can't get that live, the discount code will also be emailed to everyone who registers for the webinar. So if you want to learn more, you can come to the website here and you can see exactly, let's go to the top here. You can see, this is me kind of explaining the workshop, what you'll learn. It then explains like, what are you going to get? What are you going to learn? It has a couple different, some testimonials from some of my former students. I've got some other stuff here that's just about, what is going to be available to you as you go through this. You'll also have access to Voitanos Learn, which is my student-only community where you have access to all of your, what do I call it? All of your courses and get answers to all of your questions. Let's see. So just breaks down everything you're going to end up learning. And then there's the schedule for the sessions, for the 4 sessions. And yeah, here's a bunch of testimonials, and that's basically it. So if you're interested, go ahead and jump on that. Let's go back to my slides and let me answer some questions that we got here. Okay. So first question is from Anthony. If anybody has a question, please post it in the chat so that we make sure that we capture all of those questions. Okay. So first, Anthony says, with a SharePoint Framework form customizer, with a SharePoint Framework list form customizer, is there a way to redirect the user to a different page, like a thank you page, when the user submits a new form? I know we need to call the form saved method, and that looks like it redirects the user to the page that they came from, but it doesn't look like we can set that programmatically. I'm not sure how important it is to call that method, but the docs say that we should. So let me caveat this with, I've never tried this. But if my recollection is correct, the docs say you should call the form serve method, or that you're supposed to, but all that does is that just simply says, to SharePoint Framework, I'm done with the custom form experience. Let me go like this. It just simply says, I'm done with the custom form experience. And now SharePoint, you take over again and redirect the user back to the experience they were on before. So once you've saved the item, I don't think you have to call that, because it's not like you're like committing a transaction. Once you save it through the REST API, it's saved. So if you want to take them to a thank you page, then you can absolutely do that. You can go through and redirect them however you see fit to a different page. So using like the window.location DOM property. I have seen people do something similar to this, where you take after the save, it pops open like a dialog and you show the user like a little bit of a confirmation. And then after either a certain amount of time or after they click like a confirm, it will then call the form save method, which will then take them to the original experience. So 2 options there. You can do it with a dialog. You can do it. I bet you can do it without even calling form save and just redirecting to another location. Super easy to test. But I'm 90% sure that method of form saved doesn't do anything. It just tells SharePoint, I'm done, take over. So good question though. So to your last point, not sure how important it is that we call that method, but the docs say we should. I don't think it's important at all. I don't think it's important at all. I think it's just it's a nicety to tell SharePoint that we're done. Just like it would have been a nice thing if they gave us a way to install it, these things, without having to go through the REST API. Okay, that is everything that I wanted to cover today. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to, again, post those questions in the chat. Before we leave, I do just want to make sure that I say thank you to everybody for joining us today. I got a couple of different links on how you can find me. Obviously, you found me on YouTube because you're here on the office hour session, which is on YouTube. But there's the other places where I'm really active. On LinkedIn, I'm not as active on Blue Sky, but that's my short form. I shouldn't put that in quotes. That's what it is. But that's my short form social media platform as choice. Cool, Anthony. Yes, that's so. I think that your experience there, I don't think you're missing anything. I just saw you. So Anthony just put a follow-up message in the chat. Says he's done it before without calling the form saved, and he hasn't seen any downside, but figured he'd ask in case there was something. I don't believe there's any issue there, so I think you're good. Also, there's my podcast at the very bottom, code deploy go.live. I don't know, anybody subscribed to the podcast? Anybody listening to it? Anybody got any feedback to share with us? Julie and I have a new episode coming out tomorrow. Actually, let me jump over back to me. Julie and I have a new episode of that coming out tomorrow. And at the very end, we kind of ask for some feedback or some input. So hit like and subscribe. I appreciate that on the video and on the channel. If you like this, I appreciate it. If you subscribe to the podcast, Julie and I ask a question where I would love to know, both of us would like to know, how do you like the format? As I suspected, just like I did with the previous podcast I was in, but it took some time to get there, what was I going to say with that? When we go through the news, now that we've gotten past like some of our back issues and we're now into more like real-time stuff. Thanks for the feedback there, Savvy. Anthony, I'll come back to that in just a second about Spotify. I need to write that down too. There's a lot more news to cover, and you'll see from this week's episode that comes out tomorrow, you will see that there's a lot of news, and frankly, we had to skip a lot of news too, or I had to go very quick on a lot of stuff. It took up a good chunk of our show. It took up about I'd say almost 60% of the episode. We're kind of playing with the idea of should we split the news out into, if we're going to have a topic we want to discuss, should we have like a news episode and then a topic episode? So we got a couple different segments. So like one segment is, there's always the banter at the beginning, which I know some people are like going, I don't care what's going on in your life, but believe it or not, when I did the Microsoft Cloud Show with CJ, one of the most popular things that people said that they liked about the podcast was hearing what we're up to and what's on top of mind. I mean, okay, cool. But I do like that from other podcasts. So it's not just content, but we have chapter links in there so you can skip it. If you want, you can jump straight to the news. So then we also have a segment for the news, recapping a lot of the news in the Microsoft developer space. So that's 365, that's Azure, you name it. And then other stuff that's at least related to developers. That's kind of stuff that I find that's interesting, or we find that's interesting. Then we generally have a topic that we cover where we kind of go back and forth on it. Like for example, this week was a little bit of a rehash from the previous episode. Anthony, actually, I addressed some of your stuff as well, that you had some comments that you left on LinkedIn about, let's just say some feedback about Power Platform, which I loved all the stuff that you said. And some of it was, I hadn't seen, some of the stuff I had seen, some of the stuff I hadn't seen, but I'm like just nodding my head. I'm like, yes, dude, keep going. You're like, I won't go on. And I'm like, why not? Keep going. And you did. Thanks. Microsoft has actually noticed that too. They mentioned they're like going, do you know who this person is? I'm like, I totally do. And they haven't responded to me since then. It's like, you want me to connect you guys? And then at the end we do picks, which that's just fun. So it's like 3 or 4 different segments that we do. And what I'm kind of thinking, and I guess Julie and I are thinking is, should we have shorter episodes where there's like, we kind of swap out. Sometimes it's interview, sometimes it's news, sometimes it's a featured topic. I don't know. I think we would at least go like news would be every other episode, and then a featured topic or an interview would be the other episode. Like, I don't know. But that's one. I'll be completely honest. I really want to know your feedback on this, because we are getting our process down and trying to identify the pieces of each one of the episodes, the episode follow-up production that we can package up and automate. And have like an operator take over some of the process from us, so that it can be less time on us. if we can get that done, that helps us get to a closer place of being able to move to a weekly episode instead of just bi-weekly. But we're just trying to work through that process now. I'm just thinking ahead, like, could we do an episode? Like, could we go through and we separate those? So I'd love to know what you think about that. If you would, I mean, you can leave me a comment here, but what I really want you to do is leave a comment on tomorrow's episode, wherever it is, or just, send us a message and let us know. We should have created a survey and posted that. We did not. We might, and post it everywhere, but I would love. Let me just see what Anthony says here. Don't mind providing feedback about Power Automate because I love how quickly I can build out an automation and the designers to see the flow run. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I love it as like a prototyping tool. But when it comes to, there we go. I was just about to say what I just saw your next comment pop up. But when it comes to enterprise grade solutions, I'm going Azure. I'm not and custom code. I am not. Power Platform is great for like onesie twosies and like prototyping stuff. But beyond that, it's not useful. And then you could almost argue that AI is going to make it even less useful. It's already not reliable. So at any rate, so I'd love to get your input on that stuff if you're a subscriber to the podcast. Second of all, Anthony, I see you said, is there a reason why there's no video on Spotify? Yeah, because we haven't done it. It's on my list. Actually, I want to write that down. Podcast. So Spotify does give you the ability to post a video of it, do a video-based show. It's my intention to do that. I just haven't done it yet. It's on my list, but I realize that the list that it's on is not like right in front of my face. So I just wrote it down on my little takeaways from my office hours today. We are using a service to publish the podcast. It does the RSS and the MP3 audio feeds. And it also publishes to Spotify and like Apple Podcasts, and then so many other platforms like take their lead from Apple Podcasts. But it also does it for Spotify. When we did it to get the published and on those different platforms faster, we let the service go do that for us. What that means is that technically right now, when Julie and I don't own the podcast on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify or those other platforms. To fix that, there is a way that I can go into those platforms and I can claim the podcast as mine. And then I have the ability to go through and to add like a video to the feed instead of it just being RSS, an MP3 feed. I need to fix that. I'm not sure like what the process is because I don't know. I haven't gone through it, but the thing I have to do to go figure it out is, can I claim the one that's already there? And when I do that, when the MP3 gets published, can I also say, here's a video that I also want you to use, like the video we use on YouTube, and say, go through and post it there so that you can listen to it. You get the show however you want it. Video on YouTube or Spotify, audio on YouTube Music, which comes straight from the video feed, Spotify, which I don't really know how it works just yet, or all the other podcatcher apps. So I don't know if can I do that with the existing one that's there, or do I have to delete it and then recreate it, and then I have to stop the service we're using, Transistor, from posting it to Spotify? I'm not really sure. I got to figure that out. So it's on my list. I wasn't aware that there was a way that you could claim your stuff until just recently. So I heard that from another podcast where they were like, here's a pro tip. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. So I just got to figure it out. So the only reason is because I was ignorant. I didn't know about it, and I haven't had a chance to deal with it since then. So I appreciate you saying it's not that important to you right now. It is very important to me. So it will get addressed. It's just when I just got to get on it. Frankly, I'm more interested in trying to get the process of publishing much more consistently and faster. That's what I'm trying to do first. Okay. Awesome. All right. We're at the top of the hour. It's noon. That means got to go bye-bye. So everybody, I hope to see you in my webinar in about an hour on doing custom, how to go through and customize Microsoft 365 Copilot with custom agents. And then I also hope to see you in my workshop on Wednesday and Thursday of this week. So with that, thanks a lot, everybody. Again, please like and subscribe if you enjoyed my office hours, and leave a comment. Please like it if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you want to see future ones, and also leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this. Did you like this format more than the previous ones I've done? Stuff you wish I was doing more of? I want feedback. I want the good, the bad, not the ugly. I don't think anything's ugly, but I'd love to know everything that you guys are thinking on it, because what that does is the only way I can make it better. Cool. Thanks a lot, everybody. I hope to see you soon.